And you're listening to the Homebuyers Hour on WCPT AM 820. And I'm just going to apologize and Saturday morning at 6 o'clock because we're going to tell a whole bunch of pirate jokes eventually. So I'm going to start off with the first one. Patrick, what's a pirate's favorite letter? No, it's the C. All right. Anyway, I know the jokes don't get better than that. I just had a flag thrown at me for it.
As a malarkey flag.
I do have in the studio with us another real estate agent, and we always try to bring on the people that really bring out the most professionalism in it. So I'm very proud to have Amber, and I'm going to try my best. Kardosh.
Kardosh.
Bless America.
Kardosh. Thank you very much, Amber Kardosh. Amber, if you don't mind, give us the rundown. I know you're with Christie's International Real Estate and stuff, but give us the rundown about you, your company, and how do people get hold of you.
Yes, I'm with At Properties Christie's International. You can get a hold of me and at my number, email, 773-726-2070, and my email, akardosh @properties.com. I'm a residential real estate agent. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. I work with buyers, investors, sellers, all kinds. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate that very much. And we're going to talk about the professionalism and get a few horror stories in here. And the show is always horror. And it's always, the whole idea is everything is how do you recognize the good and bad? Because buying a house is a big deal. Patrick, if you don't mind, give us the rundown on you.
You pointed at me after you said, how do you recognize the good versus the bad, which makes
Right.
me suspicious of what you feel about me. Hey, I'm Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. My law firm is called Loftus Law. I do residential real estate, and that's really all I do. So if you want, after you've listened or watched this, you want even more of this, find me on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Loftus_law. On TikTok, I'm at Loftus Law.
And a quick rundown on me. My name is Charlie Bellefontaine. We own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. We do boast that we have the highest ratings amongst any other home inspection company in the Chicagoland area. Our website is www.thehomeinspectors. That's plural, ORS, and it's a .com. Our phone number is 312-544-9180. Now, the man of the hour, Mr. Tesla driver,
Can I jump in really quick before we introduce Joey?
Yeah.
I just want for everyone to know, including Steve Davis, that our favorite real estate broker is Amber.
Amber Kardosh.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Do you see this? Steve. All right. So I just wanted to trigger Steve before I forgot. Hey, Joey, tell us about you. What's going on, buddy?
No mercy.
Man, being an adult is hard today, huh? All right. So, Joey Mathews, NMLS 1330694. And the VA Loan Nerd, you can find me at thevaloannerd.com. You can find me across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. And I think, and if you feel like calling or text me, you can call or text me at 630-235-2405. And that's me.
Give me the rundown. What's going on in the market now?
Quick rundown. It has been fairly flat. We have some sell-off going on right now. Not a lot, a little bit. And it's just because we have GDP coming tomorrow. We have, more important, the oh my goodness, PCE numbers, personal consumer expenditure numbers coming in on Friday. That is the Fed's favorite gauge for inflation. So over the last week, we're only down 20 basis points in the mortgage-backed security market. 10-year Treasury is up 6 basis points. So fairly flat is what I'm getting at. It is a fairly flat market. Friday we'll see a reaction to data, but it's been slow since Tuesday last week. So nothing crazy going on until Friday, baby.
I love every time Joey corrects himself. It makes me laugh.
Me up.
Joey, I have a question for you. We've seen over the past several months when some of these numbers come out and then the market reacts in whatever way it reacts, usually overreacting. It then comes out the next month or the next the revisions. We've seen massive revisions on these numbers. Are we still seeing that?
Wait, well, we'll see on you know what? Actually, which one was it? The retail sales. We saw a revision that I think that there was a reaction that was way too muted. But last month when retail sales were reported, it was at a 0%. This month it got revised down. Last month's numbers got revised down an additional quarter. So I believe that we should have seen a bigger reaction for that, because I think retail sales is what's going to tell us where PCE falls for the consumer expenditures. So I'm thinking we're going to be coming in light on Friday. You know what? No, I don't. I think we're going to come in heavy on Friday.
That's it.
It's going to be terrible.
Amber doesn't know what goes on here. So Joey's never right in his predictions. He's always 100% wrong. So whenever he wants to do something, he predicts the opposite just so he could be right. It's like the double bluff or something.
I'm the same with sports gambling. I put 3 little cheeky bets on Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. None of them came in.
Go Oilers?
I had Oilers. I had Connor McDavid with plus 2 points, and I had what the heck is his name? Tarasenko scoring 0 out of 3. So if you're out there and you want good gambling tips, ask me what I think about what's going to happen in the big game, and then just fade me all the way.
Sounds good. And oops. Alrighty.
Get off your phone. Come on.
Quit tweeting.
What?
No, something was going on here, so I'm not tweeting. But anyway,
Unprofessional.
I wanna get back to it. So usually we end up meeting before we start the radio show, and we get some decent conversations. And there's always things that I hear that I like to expound on.
More than decent.
So very decent,
Exceptional,
right? Very
I
good.
would say.
Yeah.
And one of the things, Amber, I really want to hear your take on this stuff. Is you mentioned that whenever you have a listing, that during the home inspection, you as the listing broker want to be there at the house when the buyers are going through with the home inspection. All right?
Correct.
Why? Tell me why.
It's very important. And I think there's 2 schools of thought. That you've got the agents that are like, you shouldn't be there. We need to explore the house, and it's a liability if something comes up and you have to disclose it if the deal falls apart, which is true. However, your client expects you to be there. Your client wants to know what's happening, how's it going. If something breaks and it wasn't broken when they entered the home, how would we know if you're not there? And being kind of a resource for them, hey, do you know what this is? Do you know where I can find this? And so being that person, as you should, because it's your job to be there to assist in all aspects, including the inspection. You're not trying to listen in on everything, but you're trying to be a resource and make sure everything kind of goes smooth and answer questions that you can answer to avoid any kind of tie up in attorney review or anything like that. So there are buyer's agents who have, politely and not politely be like, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't, and I'm like, why? And so it's 2 rules of thought. I think that you are being paid to be the agent through and through, and that's part of the process.
And, something else that came in there was you mentioned about, being there, and then if somebody finds something wrong, you're going to have to disclose it. And that's something that irks me.
Same,
all right?
Same.
It just
you and
irks
I are
me.
right on the same
And
we have a similar mindset.
With, so we fix it. I get it. No home is perfect. There's going to be some minor things that are wrong with it that really don't have to be fixed. And the buyer can choose to accept it or not accept it. That's their choice. But if it is something like water's coming in or some sort of electrical thing that could be very serious and hurt somebody,
Gas.
Yeah, gas leaks, depending on how bad they are.
CO.
Is where it comes in there. Carbon monoxide, if somebody has that equipment. But that's all things, and your answer just made me smile. Your answer was, so we fix it. I want to know.
Yeah.
If I don't know what's wrong, I can't fix it.
Right.
And it's like, why is it, and maybe you can't answer this, but I'm like, why? It just drives me nuts. Why do real estate or some real estate agents sit there and say, I don't want to know anything. I don't want to be responsible or liable for anything. I just want to put my blinders on and be in the dark.
I think, it's just a mentality and, to each their own on how you handle your clients in the transaction and what have you. But, part of the whole process is if I was a homeowner and I'm selling my house and my agent's like, hey, there's a leak in your bathroom, I'm not going to go, okay, well, I'm not fixing it. They can take the leak. You're going to want to fix it because you own the home. You live in the home.
Right.
Yeah.
Still yours.
It's just baffling how many, negative interactions with people, buyer's agents that are just very upset that I'm there. And usually I put my headphones on and I'm working and And I say, I'm here for being a resource. I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to be over your shoulder. And then at the end, I say, is there anything that my client should be aware of so that we can, spearhead that? Because we want to make it work, but we also want to understand if there's anything major that they weren't aware of.
Yeah, I think what you just said there is important to make it clear. You're not there to look over their shoulder and, have a running commentary with the inspector the whole time. And perhaps that's some of the fear on the part of the buyer's agent, is that I'm sure there are, and I don't think there's that many agents that would do this, but I believe I've heard, stories, talk about horror stories where you do have a listing agent who is way too nosy, and they are following you around, or they're just outside of your where you notice, and they do want to jump in and be like, no, actually. And very much that's not the vibe we're talking about here. What we're talking about is just being a good steward of your client's home. It's their home, right? This isn't some vacant property, most likely. It is someone's home, right?
There's emotions involved.
I got a lot of expensive stuff in my home, okay? I would rather not have 3 strangers walking through without any sort of supervision.
I did a home inspection one time, and it had a gas fireplace in it, and the gas valve was turned off. And I just marked down that, and I told my client, listen, I'm not going to turn it on. I'm just going to mark down that it's not working. I'm sure somebody can just turn it on, light it up, and get it working, and show you a picture of it, and everything's fine, right? The listing agent was there on site, and he came out and started yelling at me. You have to. I like it that Pat giggled on that. He goes, you can't put that. I know, right? And he's like, you can't put that. It's not working in there. I says, yeah, I can. I'm a highly trained professional. Watch me. I can do that easily. I know, what a jerk, right? But the point is, he just started getting so mad. He goes, well, why don't you just light it? I'm like, look at this head. All right. Do you think I was always bald? I did that one time. I lit a fireplace thinking, no good deed or whatever, trying to do the right thing. And no good deed goes unpunished. And I had this thing flare up on me. And yeah, I got a male bald pattern burn off of the top of my head. But no, seriously, all my eyebrows got singed away and stuff like that. I look not that I look so pretty now, but I look so bad. Amazing. It was unbelievable. I didn't have any eyebrows. That was the second time in my life that's happened. First time I was driving to work at the firehouse, and I had an electric razor in my car, and it felt so good.
Goodness.
And I went right over my left eyebrow. But anyway, that's a different story. Beside the point, I'm trying to focus more on
you think I go off topic?
And
My
being
goodness.
professionals. I don't know. It's
Angry
the
apples.
ADDs. I mean, he was an angry apple, and he started yelling at me.
I love that
and
term.
My feeling got hurt, and I only got one feeling, and it's not that hard, I guess, to hurt it, right, Pat?
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole or an oar. Look, and that one's such an easy one to address, right? Like,
yeah.
I regularly just include in my letter, hey, the inspector was unable to, make the fireplace work. Can you just give us some instructions? Maybe give us a video. Mm-hmm. It's because those things, everyone has like a different, like you've got to turn the gas on, and you got to turn this thing to the right, and then you got to, say a couple nice things to it, and then you got to tap this twice, and then turn the other thing back all the way around, and now you've got the pilot light lit. Now you've got 3 more buttons to push. It's like all you're probably gonna end up doing either burning your eyebrows off or
eyebrow.
He had a unibrow.
No, he's wearing an eye patch. This guy with
pirate reference.
Or you're either going to singe your eyebrow off, or you're going to break the thing. And that guy yelling is. I mean, it's a lot of it. I think you asked the question of Amber, why do they want to know as little as possible? As it seems. I mean, the answer is fear. And I feel like there's a very old school notion, and if you were mentored by an older agent, they will give you that advice, which is try to avoid knowing too much about the property. You're trying to sell it. You don't want to know about the bad stuff. And it's like, I take a different approach. Really, it's like if someone comes through and they do an inspection and they discover something that I might have to disclose, right? Let's say the radon's too high. Well, okay, fine. We know how much that costs. And we know how to mitigate it. It's a pretty simple thing, right? Whatever it is, you might even, and this happens as often as not, I feel, it's like the inspector comes in and they find something that you might have to disclose. And then you get someone, the inspector, Charlie, with all due respect, you're a generalist. You know a little about a lot. And then someone who actually someone who is a plumber is going to have more plumbing knowledge than Charlie.
My other feeling just got hurt.
Well, now he's got two feelings. We've just improved Charlie's feelings by 100%.
Nice.
Imagine, what an amazing moment. But I mean, at the end of the day, so I get my plumber in to check out, is there something wrong with the water heater? And the plumber goes, no, actually, that thing that they referenced in the report is okay. So it's, I don't see why people are so concerned about learning more about the property that they're selling. I mean, on the buyer side, I'm certainly trying to find out about as much. And, the more information, the better, I feel like.
Amber, I'd love to hear from you. I personally think that we are a prejudicial society, whether I like to say it or not. And when I run into, or let's switch it around, if I was a real estate agent and I ran into 4 different home inspectors that really didn't understand what they were doing, I will become trained to think that all home inspectors are dumb.
Alarmist,
whatever the word you want to use. It doesn't matter. But we tend to equalize a profession is where I was going with that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's happened to you. You've seen good and bad people in my field, have you not?
Yeah.
Tell me some of the bad that has happened if that comes to mind right away in my field. Like, give me a horror.
I mean, I honestly haven't had anything that was like, God, that inspector was the worst. Like, I haven't. When I'm on the buy side, the inspectors that I have used, I plan on using you, Charlie, don't worry, in the future. But
that shows you're just a very smart woman. That's okay.
There it goes.
My goodness gracious.
Fasten your seatbelts, folks. It doesn't get any better.
Well, you just propped up a third feeling, I think.
I think wow. No, but I feel like being the listing agent and listening, I've had some that kind of made a mountain out of a molehill. And I didn't obviously say something at the time, but it did, like, being able to hear it. And then when we saw it in the letter, kind of articulating, going, all right, well, I heard that, I see it, but, like, that wasn't an issue, and this is why. So obviously I'm not a pro at any of the electrical, like, that's not my wheelhouse. However, if I know something from a past inspection that I know it's not an alarming thing, I can at least talk about it. But I haven't really had any horror. You have to, like, enunciate that word.
Yeah. I'm really bad.
Really
and Patrick will make fun of that Chicago accent of mine, so, the or whatever it is. But I guess everything comes down to, what is a major issue? And I don't know, Joey maybe on the loan side or Patrick on the attorney's side. Do you two tell me what would be considered major and not major? I mean, I could tell you a trip hazard is a life safety thing.
Well,
but
I mean, safety stuff.
Thank you for giggling.
I mean, I think it's code things sound scary. Like, inspectors come in and say, this isn't code. And then the buyer's like, what? And it's something as silly as, like, the flimsy dryer vent that's now supposed to be solid. 99% of dryers have that, but it's still not code. So being able to articulate that to your buyer, because they hear not code and they're like, oh, no.
But that's not true.
Yeah, right? I was going to say, it's okay, but it requires more maintenance.
Well, they all require maintenance. You should never let your transition
I
duct
said
get dirty.
More maintenance. I didn't say no maintenance.
There is no maintenance. You take those things, you throw them in the garbage and put a new one on.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
that's just an example. Like, that's not a big deal. But there's things that inspectors are required to point out as safety issues, as not code issues, and they may be just like irrelevant things that, they may not be code or safety, but it's not like a huge thing. So for me, if you were to ask me whether you did it or didn't, I'm going to tell you anyway. Major things to me is like leaks, or
it's going to do more damage to the property.
Mechanical's not working, mold, asbestos, Things like that as a seller, you may not know that this stuff is happening. You go about your day and you don't see it until inspectors actually are looking for it and going, hey, those are the things that I would see. Caulk? No.
Yeah.
Like a wax ring on the toilet is coming loose. Could be an issue, but you should probably fix it.
Amen.
Yeah,
I regularly tell
Let
my.
me go into education mode. I'm sorry.
Dear.
Here.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. I'm gonna take a minute off. I know what he's gonna say about code and all that.
We're going back to the vent. It was just an example, Charlie. Don't get upset.
But it's a good example, and it's something that people should know. All right.
All right.
So those flexible, soft, that they're foil lined. Those are approved by Underwriter Laboratories. Those are acceptable to use as a dryer transition duct, all right? I get it. There's a lot of home inspectors that say you shouldn't be using that, but there's nothing that backs that up. Now, with that being said, I would say 80% of the manufacturers of the dryers put down in their installation manual that they don't want those installed, but that has nothing to do with anything, all right? If they're UL approved, they're UL approved. And quite frankly, the solid ones, I hate those. Because when you push your dryer back in all the way and you dent that thing, guess what? It doesn't pop back out.
Stop
and
manhandling your dryer.
The things, that dryer ticks me off like there's no tomorrow. Now I'm worked up. I don't know what's going on.
Wow, there goes one of his feelings we built.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez almighty. Joey, just talk about veterans or something like that. Make me happy again.
So if you have some dryer vent issues with a VA loan, no, anyway.
Oh, no.
No, dude, it's just funny. Like as soon as you said trip hazard, you triggered me because you're buying in Chicago with a VA loan. Your sidewalks are a trip hazard. I see appraisers call it out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an appraiser and you're listening to this, stop it. You are creating work that I don't want to do. Stop calling that out. It's not a freaking MPR, a minimum property requirement, right?
Acronyms.
No, it's I'm trying so hard.
He's got a military background and so it's like it's ingrained in his like it's just part of the way he thinks.
I'm gonna need a key code having a conversation with this man. He's gonna be it's a PNW and I can't believe the BDI.
Pacific Northwest?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh yeah. No, we're having a good time.
That, again, it goes right back to everything we've been trying to do for the last 2.5 years is just how do you recognize the professional from, and any word that I choose to use is going to be derogatory, but how do you recognize the professional from the not so professional? And Joey, in the mortgage thing, if somebody's calling around interviewing, it always goes back to why should I work with you? What makes you unique and different? And Amber, fasten your seatbelts. I'm going to ask you the same question.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what makes me unique and different? I will tell you, I don't care about what rates you're shopping. It really doesn't matter to me. Do you want to close or not, period? Do you want to close? Because I will tell you right now, I have had so many deals fall into my lap that, oh, well, this lender was giving me this rate. I'm like, yeah, cool. And they denied you because they don't know how to close loans. So, hey, if I'm matching rate, cool. If I'm not, I'm still going to close you. And I think closing matters a lot more when you're trying to get into a house. That's just me.
I mean,
I've never had a pre-approval denied, and I'm just not going to deal with
And do you have
issuing
any?
something.
Do you have any say-so, I guess is the word, or any influence on what the rates can be?
You can have any rate you want.
The market dictates basically everything. Everybody's trading off the same coupons at the end of the day. Everyone's buying mortgage-backed security coupons. Lenders that did a lot of forward commitments, so they were buying coupons earlier before 2022, right? All those are gone now, right? So everyone's trading off the same available securities. So really, there's no major difference in the rate game. The only time you see anything is when you're dealing with Community Reinvestment Act products. So I have a product that is through a particular lender, and it is designed for specific areas where you are getting significant rate reductions. But again, you got to want to live in that area. That's what I'll say about it. But
is that for like a depressed area that they're trying to?
It's
community reinvestment.
Let's be careful. We don't want to violate any fair housing laws.
I'm not playing that game.
Yeah.
That's
why he's being
good
vague.
to know.
But Joey, I this this conversation brings me back, I don't know, I think it was sometime last year, where I had a client who was presented with two different loan estimates from two different lenders, and one of them had a fairly significantly higher interest rate than the other. But when I was trying to compare everything, apples to apples, I just got lost. After about 30 minutes, I was like, I'm just going to send this to Joey, and he'll be able to tell me in about 3 seconds, what's what. And that's exactly what happened. I sent it over. I was like, Joey, can you just take a look at this for me, man? Rather than me put together a whole Excel spreadsheet. And it's like, at the end of the day, the higher interest rate was actually the better deal all in, because what you were really looking at is the lower interest rate was artificial because it involved buying down points. And so often people get hyper focused on that interest rate, and then secondarily they're hyper focused on the monthly payment. And those two things are important. I'm not going to deny that, but there is a lot more that's important. Am I blowing smoke, Joey?
No, it's absolutely true. And I remember looking at that and thinking, wow, yeah, Rocket Mortgage is awful. And that's who the one was from. Yeah.
All right, we're not
No,
pulling
but
punches.
Rocket generally, I'm going to see
about Rocket
2 points.
Mortgage's Spirit
I'm going to see
Airlines.
2 points.
We beat them all.
Yeah.
He's firing his cannon at Rocket.
And I will forever until they go away.
Arr.
So you were saying, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
Oh man, I don't even remember what
He
I was
was
saying.
angry at Rocket. No, we were talking
I was
about
angry at Rocket.
the fact that there's more to shopping for a mortgage loan than just simply the rate and the payment.
No, I mean, I think that the most important piece of any mortgage is that it's going to close. If that's not the most important piece, please tell me something more important. Silence is agreement. I love it. Perfect.
I don't know. I mean, closing's good. I like that part. That's the part where they hand me a check.
I like that.
Ooh.
I like that. Communication's
Because
good.
I'll tell you what, lenders who I don't give updates proactively, and I'm kind of going, hey, where's everything at? Drives me bonkers.
Or you reach out to them and it's crickets.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
Yes.
My poor assistant, I've got her on mortgage contingency duty, and she's reaching. She's doing what I ask of her, and the chaos that is the different mortgage lenders that we work with, whether it be Devin, tell me if I can throw stones at Chase, or if I have to be nice to Chase. He's giving me the stink eye.
Nice.
Chase is
The greatest.
is an institution in this country. And that's as much as I'll say about it. But some lenders, they're awesome. They get right back to her. It's great. I got no worries. And then other lenders, it's like it'll be 4:30 on the mortgage contingency deadline date, and I'm just like, hey, just kick out a letter for a 2-day extension. We'll get in touch with them at some point. And what can you really do? And I imagine you have the same experiences.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, lenders to close is a huge thing, a part of the thing. But I think you have to set yourself apart as a lender just as much as we do as real estate agents, as you do as an attorney, as you do as an inspector, right? The process is pretty much the same, from start to finish. But it's how you go outside the box. How do you create more value? How do you create the experience that your clients are wanting that they may not know that they need because they haven't been through it?
They won't know what they need.
So set the bar high.
Yeah. Let other people chase you. That's my philosophy on everything too. And, my only thing is that we don't really market heavily. We do have some very healthy relationships with professional real estate agents, but most of our business comes over the internet through Yelp and Google and things like that. So our reviews are very important to us. But when somebody's calling me, the first question is always going to be, how much do you charge? And it's like, I'm going to answer the question because you asked it, and I would want that done to me. But if that's all you're looking for, we're not going to be a good fit.
I love those people because they get rid of themselves for me, right? I don't have to have a 15-minute conversation with them about what I offer. I don't care. I don't care. If you are a bad consumer and you shop strictly on price, I don't have time for you.
But if they come back and say that, if you can give them just an inch of knowledge, I didn't know that. Okay, now let me send you the whole book. it's kind of like the cover of everything else. And that's what we try to do is I try to get that text or that book to them.
Yeah.
And then this is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
This is where we diverge. I can't, I've given up on trying to save the world.
Really?
Not everyone's going to get the good experience
You're gonna make
that I
me
provide.
quote
Some people just want to watch it burn, baby.
Hey, man. Go listen. You can hire a real estate lawyer for $125. All right. What are you
But
getting?
don't, because that makes my job harder.
Yeah, seriously. If look, go hire that $125 real estate broker. Go to Rocket. Go and to Redfin. I think we can crap on them. I'm not getting any pushback from the other room.
Nope. And you got to go ahead for Chase too. So have fun with them.
All right. Well,
Oh, let's not bash people.
She's nice.
I just love
can
talking
bash-
trash.
No, let's not
We
bash
could bash ourselves.
Yeah, Redfin and Zillow.
because that only shows. Listen, you can only.
I work with a lot of good Redfin agents. All right, so they're
Ooh.
not, and I get it. There's a lot of computerizing, but some of the people that work there are very caring individuals. All right,
I've worked with some good ones, and they
Yeah.
every single one of them ends up leaving because once they've there's a point in time for most real estate
Yeah.
brokers where they outgrow what Redfin provides them, which is a ton of experience.
But you know what? That does bring up something good. And Amber, I hope you're comfortable elaborating on this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was the thing about pre-approvals. All right, and
I hope you're comfortable with pre-approvals.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
well, no, showing houses without a pre-approval.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's wise.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, I think especially when after August, when the buyer broker agreement, technically you can't show a house without having one of those signed. So the pre-approval is going to be obviously a secondary thing that you're going to have, but it's just as critical, but even more so if you don't have a buyer broker agreement. And me as a listing agent, I have no problem asking if they're pre-approved, and I'm not going to have any problem going, do you have a buyer broker agreement signed? I need to see it, or we're not doing a private showing. You're not wasting my client's time trying to get the kids and everyone else out of the house. You're not going to waste my time, especially I'm on 1 foot right now. Like, you need to have ready and able and qualified buyers setting private showings, or just send them to the open house till they're ready. I just think that's the best way of course of action, and people are so scared to say no, or hey, I'm happy to show you this XYZ homes. However, if you're not pre-approved, we have to understand where you're at financially and if you can even afford these houses.
And isn't it kind of dangerous in its own way? I mean, I'm not trying to get all fear-mongering and stuff like that, but I've read articles where real estate agents were physically attacked.
Yeah.
And you don't know who the person is. You know, at least with the pre-approval, I think it's you got their credit, you got their names, you got everything else that's been checked. And
Well, they have a tool as well. There's
Forewarn?
they are able to do some additional screening of
that's
potential
good to know.
people.
tell me more about that if you know about
Yeah,
it.
but I feel like it's a screening process. Yes, you can identify who they are, but that still doesn't tell you, like, they're going to kill you. They have a knife in their pocket. You don't know. Like, I mean,
Sorry.
great. They lived at 123 Jump Street. They owned a Civic back in 1998. They had 6 speeding tickets in 1996, but, like, we don't know. They became a mass serial killer the last 10 years. I don't know. Right? So, for
I
me,
had that expunged.
all I'm saying is,
The mass serial killing.
I
Had
don't
a
know.
wife wiped off his record.
Yeah,
But
I hacked into the state.
I agree. I just think, and even more so now, I'm seeing buyers trying to schedule showings directly with listing agents in the fear with this buyer broker agreement. They're not wanting to have to pay, even though that was always something that they would have to do, but it wasn't approached that way until these settlements came out. And they're trying to go directly to the listing agent, and they're not even ready to go. And I've had that so many times the last couple months, and I just, to me, I'm like, well, you pre-approved? They're like, oh, no, but we've got X amount down. I'm like, super. I need a pre-approval, though, if I'm going to schedule a listing appointment for you.
Amber, give us your contact information again, please.
It is akardosh at properties.com. I didn't know we can do our Instagram handle, so my Insta is Amber Kardosh Real Estate.
Millennials. Insta. These boomers are going to fight back.
You can
all
hit me
of
on
you.
the gram. No, I'm just kidding. And my cell phone, 773-726-2070. Happy to answer my calls.
I appreciate
And I'll
that.
forewarn you probably. No, I'm kidding.
No, I like it. Patrick, please.
My first car was a 1986 Toyota Celica. So
Mine
maybe
was a Ford Pinto.
Was it you? Oh,
yeah. So my name is Patrick Loftus. I'm a real estate lawyer. Hire me when you are selling your home. That's when I make the most money. So I like money. You know, I'm not going to deny it. Last week, Comrade Loftus was talking a little bit too much like a commie. So I want to make it clear I do like
What?
money. It's a callback to last week for the dozens of fans that religiously listen to us.
Did you say callback? Let's go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, call me. Anyways, so don't find me on. Find me on Facebook. It's weird. I get so many friend requests on Facebook, and it's like, as long as you're not like, some thirst trap that is just trying to, I don't know what you're doing.
thirst trap.
Yeah.
Elaborate on
I
that.
already have 5,000 friends. I can't have anymore.
No, thirst trap is, how do I put this
I don't know.
politely?
Thirsty, I think of a different term, so I'm trying to understand.
It's someone who is, looking real fine, but they're, well.
They're like looking like a dime. I think that's the cool term. I don't know.
What happened? What is going on right now?
They're giving
Radio.
charm.
This is
All right,
Saturday
let's
morning
talk the
radio.
language here.
Yeah, look,
All right.
thirst trap is
They're giving hotness.
a super hot chick who is ultimately her goal is not to be your friend; it's for you to be her customer on OnlyFans. Am I allowed to talk about OnlyFans? Anyways,
I don't know. I've heard it.
I have no idea
Shut up.
what's OnlyFans.
Find me on. Oh my
OnlyFans.
God!
I think it's.
I'm Patrick on OnlyFans.
I mean,
I got 2 thumbs up from Devin on the OnlyFans reference. Find me on OnlyFans. No, don't. I'm not there. Find me on
Sure.
Instagram, Loftus_law. Well, it's not Loftus Law on OnlyFans. It's, that's our
Unbelievable.
matey. Find me on TikTok at Loftus Law. Introduce yourself, Charlie.
All
Come on.
right, so
Get us
it's
out of this cesspool.
Charlie Bellefontaine. We do own Chicagoland Home Inspectors, and we also own Home Inspection University. So if you're interested in joining the home inspection profession, we do a lot of training. Most of it ends up actually being free. We don't charge until you do the field event training that comes out there. We do work with a lot of community colleges across the state. So if this is something that you want to learn more about your house, please try and reach out to me. We can get you started in there, even if it gives you a better understanding. And then also, if you want to join the profession, please let me help you. Joey, give us the rundown.
Well, yeah. So,
It's flustered.
I think I just heard Goofy come out
I'm
of there.
trying. Gosh. Trying to find the PJ's OnlyFans. Couldn't find it. Anyway, so Joey Mathews, you can find me at thevaloannerd.com. You can find me across all the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405.
Is that the most romantic voice you've ever heard, or
Oh my
what?
gosh, the
I
fact that
know.
he calls himself a nerd. Also, can I have a request for next time, Joey?
Let's go. Yes, absolutely.
Can you have like some kind of video where I could see your face? It's like you're the man behind the curtain.
Oh, he's the best looking out of all 3 of us here, so there's no doubt on
Hey,
that.
take it easy.
Not
Take it
you.
easy.
I'm talking about Patrick and me.
Sure.
I'm not stepping on that turd.
No lie. So, Joey, have you ever been bamboozled by somebody with a loan? Giving you fake
in what
info?
way? Someone trying to commit fraud?
Well, I think it's
Ooh.
catfish,
I've-
right?
The only thing I've seen is Dr. Bank statements, and it's so easy to figure out. So I'm just like, dude, this isn't happening. So I'm able
Seriously,
to, but
somebody
it's
actually
because I
tried
looked
that?
at everything up front. Oh my god, yeah, absolutely. People do it all the time. Well, not I won't. You know what?
All
No,
the
that's
time.
not true. They don't do it all the time. But I've
Often
had it
enough,
happen a couple
sounds like.
times where I'm like, this math doesn't math. Where are we changing our numbers on this thing? Because it's just a PDF. You go into Adobe, you can edit a PDF, right?
Yeah.
So, but no one actually does the math to like change their balances, and you can see the change in font. It's happened a couple times, but yeah, I've seen that for
Are
sure.
you able to see people's balances when you do the credit checking thingamajigger?
Not on credit checks, no. But whenever I do a pre-approval, I want bank statements, pay stubs, W-2s. If they're self-employed, I want their tax returns. I'm not going to issue a pre-approval unless I see numbers, and as long as those numbers aren't doctored, I'll be good to go.
So my bank statement shouldn't be on in a Word file, is what you're saying.
No, yeah, try to avoid that. That's like that vibe's a no-go.
does not pass the vibe check. Speaking of vibe, so we were at my friend and colleague Cody Ship's wedding, my wife and I, and this woman came up to us and said, "You two are such a vibe," and I was like, I think that's a compliment. And my wife's like, yeah, duh, it's a compliment, idiot. And, but we were a vibe. We were a vibe, according to one person.
I mean, that's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Vibe is good, right?
I think so.
I think, fire is good too, right? Yeah, fire's good.
That's
Yeah.
not.
Hey, as
Hold
long as you got Riz, you're good.
Riz, that's the
It's all
new
about
word.
Riz, baby.
Riz, my
skibbity.
12-year-old. Oh, God, don't say that.
What did he say? I missed it.
Skibbity.
You said it.
My 12-year-old, he's teaching me all those.
12 is such a horrible age.
It really is.
My
Hormones are
stepdaughter
flaring.
is a junior high school teacher,
Oh,
and she's giving me all this, you're giving whatever the vibe is, and like that's
Charlie's
a new
giving
conversation.
boomer
So,
all day long.
oh, big time, When I went to school, it was uphill both ways in the snow, no
Barefoot.
shoes,
Yep.
And it's I'm a boomer and proud of it. All right,
Ew.
and we will take over the world.
Gross.
Preach.
What do you mean gross?
You and your 1986 Camaro four-banger.
Actually, it was a 1972 Ford Pinto orange with the black racing stripe that you couldn't go into third gear.
Racing
All
stripe.
right, it
Oh,
did have a
boy.
big racing stripe down the middle until it got locked into third gear and I couldn't get it out of there. I couldn't drive it anymore.
They don't make them like they used to, do they?
Nope.
No.
I was 16 years old and it was the greatest vehicle I've ever had.
You're right. Now your car doesn't even have gears.
No, it doesn't. No,
You're an EV driver.
my wife told me that Ford just had a recall of all of their pickup trucks because they had a problem with the transmission. I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I don't have a transmission.
not my problem.
So I guess I don't have to worry about that recall at all. But I got to get my battery monitoring system
Yeah, the
checked or
battery.
something.
I don't even know how to
know.
pump gas anymore.
Oh, my God. That's a lie.
Well, you're talking to
know.
a gas guzzling Honda owner, so.
Oh my goodness.
Devin is
Yeah.
making fun of me because, the Ford Pinto was the one that if you rear-ended
Yeah,
it would explode.
it explodes.
So he comes in there. So he goes, hit the third gear wasn't the worst problem. I'm like, way to go.
The second worst
Unbelievable.
problem.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Joey, just to give you a heads up, Timmy Oak is listening. So if you want to give him a little shout out, Timmy Oak is probably one of the, he's a really classy guy. I met him. He used to live up in Northbrook when I was a fireman up in there. And then I never realized that he really got involved with a whole bunch of fire departments. And he's, I don't know if buff's the right word, but he takes photos and they're just super quality of houses when, during the entire fire scenes that come on there. And he's been published in fire engineering magazines. He's got a couple photo books that he sells and stuff like that. It's actually pretty amazing.
He's got a whole website. I looked through it. I was trying to
Yeah.
find pictures of you and Joey, and
I know. I
was
always.
there's too many pictures. I mean,
he
he's got
mad
so
at me
many.
because I would cover my face. I'm like, I don't want my picture taken.
He got me on the cover of Fire Engineering magazine.
Oh wow! All right, now you need to share the PDF. I mean, I'm sure you've got.
Yeah, dude, it was 2014, so I don't, if it's archived, I'll find it. But
Come on.
His last name is spelled O-L-K. If anybody wants to look him up, Timothy Oak.
2014 Fire Engineering magazine.
He's just an all-around good guy, and now, you see him on all these photographs when they're doing all the Chicago fire television show recordings. He's involved in that stuff there, so I don't know. I just really admire the guy, and I'm glad he's listening, and he said hi to us.
2014 Hot Firefighters calendar.
hope you're feeling well, Timmy.
Little shout out for Timmy
Wow.
from Arizona there. That's what I
Wow.
like. Yeah, me too.
All right.
Where are we at here? We're going to talk a little bit more about professionalism, and I don't think I beat on Patrick at all.
Well, I want to beat on Joey a little bit because I want
Right.
to. Speaking of professionalism, we were talking earlier about some buyers not really knowing what they need, and it reminded me of a story we told I think a couple weeks ago where Joey was working with someone who had VA loan entitlement, but had for years been steered away from VA because of all these so-called red tape and all that.
I
and
might have been involved in
just
that one.
given had been given lousy advice for most of his adult life, home buying adult life, and Joey, maybe you can elaborate on how he was steered in the right direction to get what he needed.
I'll make it quick. So the guy is a cop, and he works with a lot of cops that I have worked with at that department, and most of them are veterans. I have done pretty much all their VA loans, and so when he decided he was going to buy a new house, he was talking to the guys, and he was like, Who's this Joey Mathews guy? Tell me more about this VA. I heard it's a crappy loan, blah, blah, blah. So all of them, like to a man, gave him my number, and we had a conversation. And like he was just dumbfounded about all of what he thought he knew versus what reality was. And he started getting mad on the phone, like, why haven't I used this before? Why haven't? Because he started buying his first house. He bought his first house in 2002 after he got out of the Army, and he was told it was a poopy product. And so for his last 12 mortgage transactions, 13 mortgage transactions, he never went VA. And I mean, it was just so easy. It was like, oh, there's red tape, blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. We were clear to close in 2 weeks. Like, it's such an easy freaking product to work with. But you don't know what you don't know.
And it goes back to knowledge is power, and I know I keep repeating over and over and over again, when you're in real estate, you are not in the business of selling houses. You're in the business of building real estate agents and helping somebody go ahead and achieve a goal. And they being most home buyers and most home sellers too, it's not something that we do every single day. They're not expected to know all the processes of going through this stuff. That's where our job comes in. And if we fail to educate people and set them up and let them know what's going to be happening on each and every step, we failed. And then the clients end up getting upset, and then the emotions start flying, and then all of a sudden families are harmed. And I don't know, am I over-exaggerating right now, Amber?
Yes.
You're saying yes.
No.
Oh, you're just teasing.
No, what you're describing is, I think, a typical consumer that you interact with. And not everyone wants the experience you're describing. Now, I think that, from an objective viewpoint, what you're describing is having, a group of, very caring and, educated, whatever, professionals working with them, and they want to know. I was listening to, I got to do all my continuing education by the end of the month, so I've just been like binging continuing education.
Still, you said that last month.
I'm almost done. I got 2 hours left.
Right.
Oh, it's been terrible. But I have been learning because it's, education. But they were talking about the generations and the differences in terms of the kind of consumer that they are. And the boomer generation, who is on Facebook, it's been confirmed, they kind of just want to hire someone, and, they trust you. You're going to do your job, and they kind of stay out of the way. They got their own stuff going on. Whereas millennials, on the other hand, they really want to be involved. They want to be brought in on the process. They want to be able to be educated, and I'm speaking very generally, right?
No, of course you are. But that is one of the greatest freedoms that this country provides, is that freedom of choice. We shouldn't be manipulated into anything, but we should be educated so we make a good one. Well, I value that.
And now I'm a little bit more educated about, some things I can kind of go into a transaction with a client, having a thought of how they might want things to be handled. Not, you can't paint with a completely broad brush and just assume everyone wants the same experience that everyone else in their generation wants. There's some boomers that really want to be involved. There's some millennials who are just like, look, handle it. But usually I typically am working with someone probably who's a millennial. That's really, I just assume they're like me and they want to know everything possible about it. And they over-explain, and I try to make sure that when they get to the closing table and when we shake hands and high five when we're done, that they're like, you know what, that I feel like I did, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to own this home. I understand what I've done, and every step along the way. And I know enough about what to expect in the future that a lot of the fear that might otherwise be there is not there.
How do you feel about all that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think going back to what you were saying at the close, like even going through it, time passes. It's kind of like goldfish brain. You've gone through it, but like 5, 10 years now, you're ready to buy and sell again, and things may change, process may change, and again, it's just
Absolutely will.
trying to still provide that overly communicative, like informational overload to allow them to have the most informed like knowledge before a decision is being made, what to expect, and not have to reactively go, what am I supposed to be doing? What's next? Like they already know because you've been providing them checklists and here's what's next. And just, continuing to give that information, I think it goes a long way. Communication, anyone can do our job, like in terms of if you follow the process, right? But it's someone who is good that that is able to go that extra mile and provide the information, the knowledge, and the expertise that, quite frankly, some of us in all of our worlds, real estate, attorney, inspector, we lack, right? So, and buyers will pick that up, and probably they won't pick it up the first time because they don't know what they don't know. But a lot of times, if you don't, and staying in touch and the personal experience and all that thing, like it goes a long way. And I think, just being there for your clients and providing the most information I can't speak to it enough, and I try to do the best I can.
Or at least make it available.
Yeah.
Just because the deal closed doesn't mean you did a good job.
No.
Deals can close, where you might have 6 really, low quality, low power professionals, and, the deal wanted to close. Deals want to close.
Of course they do. You got somebody wants to sell, somebody wants to buy. All we got to do is make all that happen.
That's the default
Easy
ending
peasy.
Of a real estate transaction. But it's the along the way parts that really make all the difference.
Well, go ahead, Amber.
Well,
please.
and I think the most important thing, a takeaway from this conversation is having the deal closed being the most important to me shouldn't be to anybody. Just because, like, it closed, good. Like, that to me is not my goal. My goal is to make sure my clients are happy. Whether they're buying or selling a property, I want them happy. And if that means pulling the deal because of chaoticness on one side or whatever, like, I'm fine with that.
Right,
my mission is not just to have it closed, but to have them happy and close successfully.
And I agree with that. I'm going to defend the closing thing just a tad. It all depends on how it doesn't close. If it doesn't close because Joey didn't do a good pre-approval, and all of a sudden underwriter comes in here and finds a whole bunch of stuff that should have been found on day one.
That's never going to happen.
That not with Joey it isn't, but there are mortgage officers that do. Or if it's Patrick who, let's just say that, we had a bad attorney who just, everything's good. And then all of a sudden they get to the end and then there's a whole bunch of questions that weren't answered or addressed and it doesn't close. That's not good either,
Sure.
And same thing on our end. If we start calling out issues that really aren't issues, and I catch that a lot when I do the Zoom calls, my guys are human. I'm human. I'm not perfect by any means, but it's always how we address that. But like I said, with 1 minute left, we're going to get into the hard discussion, which we just can't do. Amber, please quickly give us the contact information one more time.
Well, at the Insta or the Gram, it's Amber Kardosh Real Estate. And then my email is amberkardosh@property.com. My cell is 773-726-2070.
Patrick?
Since we have a minute left, I'd like to go into every way another lawyer has disappointed me and screwed up, in my opinion. But we'll save that for next week. Loftus _law at Instagram, at Loftus Law on TikTok.
Joey, please.
Yep, Joey Mathews, VALoanNerd.com. All the social medias at the VA Loan Nerd.
And the website.
And thank you again, everybody, for listening. Devin Tingle, thank you for being the producer. Amber, you were terrific here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Thanks for having me.
My name is Charlie, and I am out.